Hey kids, and welcome to the show. Today, I'm going to be talking to you about a pretty serious topic, and that is one called controlling the narrative. Before I get into it, I would love it if you'd go down, do the like, share, subscribe thing, help our channel, visit the description, all kinds of cool stuff for you there. So we move on. And I want to talk about controlling the narrative. And what that means is when there is something to be told, a story to be told, there are always two sides. And the side that controls the information is the side that wins. And typically the side that wins writes the history, and that is what becomes. So we are now in a world where we have access to so much information, and yet there is still this controlling of the narrative. When I served in the military in the chaplain corps, we had to deal with PR people, and we had to talk about what information could be released, what couldn't be released, and that was really eye-opening. Because it wasn't always that, hey, we can't let people know about this. It was, we can't let people know about this yet. Because oftentimes we release the information after the event actually happened. After all the plans and preparations and all the chaos have taken place and we could respond to it, then we would release the information. For example, when a soldier has a friendly fire incident at a national training center in the deserts of California, and the soldier is sent, life-flighted, and sent off, and before any other soldier is allowed to be told about it, there is a meeting. And that meeting has all the chaos, and all that chaos comes together into this room, and there's one goal. What best suits our mission? Our mission to train these young men and women to go and fight in the desert. What is our mission and what serves our mission? Is it to say that this was friendly fire? Was it to say that this was an accident? Was it to say that this person was at fault or that person was at fault? Who was at fault and what medals are we going to give out? So then you sit back and you see this general say that, and this colonel say that, and this captain say that, and they all say different things, and they say, well, we're going to have to tell the families something, and we need to make sure that it is heroic. We can't tell them it was an accident, because if we say it was an accident, that goes out and that hometown doesn't send us any more soldiers. So we need to make sure that it's something that sounds wonderful. So we have words in our medals that say, you are a great service to your country and to the army, to your unit, to your battalion, because we want to continue to tell you where to go and what to do and what to be. Now, in the military, it's very important that it is in that communistic, socialistic, dictatorship kind of hierarchy. You know, everyone dresses the same. It's super important. Because one of the things that we were taught, at least 20 years ago, I don't know what they're taught now, but 20 years ago, we were taught that once we walked into the gates of that post, that we were no longer boys and girls or black or white. We were green. You're green, you're scum, you're blah. The only thing you were was what you could do and what power you possessed. And it was your ability to do the next push-up. It was your ability to run those 2 miles. It was your ability to do those sit-ups. And you really didn't look at the person next to you other than to say, that old guy doesn't have to run 2 miles as fast as I do. But we control the narrative because that old guy who has to run the mile or 2 miles in 7 more minutes than the young guy still gets to have the same prestige. Because it's important that they look good. It's interesting, there was a veterans board, and officers, they say that officers don't wear their marksmanship badges. They're allowed to wear them, but they don't wear them out of respect. And well, And this might be, this is a pretty popular opinion, and I just happen to agree with it. But most officers I know aren't very good shots, and they barely qualify. So they don't like putting their badges on. So if you're an expert, you throw them on there. A lot of people won't put them on unless they're expert. They'll go to the range and go back and forth. There were times that I wore, and I'll talk about it in my book, that I was an expert, and I was just a lowly marksman. And the lowly marksman is the one that's in my shadow box, not the expert. And again, that'll be in my book. But the idea is that we control the narrative. Whatever we do and whatever we put out there is who we are. But then when you get somebody else out there that's trying to attack your character, and they attack you through your friends or through social media, you have to remember that the person who tries to control the narrative is usually the person that's wrong. Because if you're not wrong, you allow the information to flourish. Because right and wrong, when put in a pool together, will be separated very quickly. You have to be able to step back and realize that people have a perspective that may be just as traumatic and just as frightening as yours. But that doesn't give them the right to hurt you. So if you're in a relationship where someone is bad-mouthing you and talking about you, don't engage. Because what they are doing is trying to control the narrative. And they're trying to set up a tribe against you. And I can tell you this, more than anything else, anyone that can be persuaded by false information about you is not a part of your tribe. We must sit back and realize that some people bring good into our lives, and some people bring us to good, and some people bring nothing but chaos, destruction, and hate into our lives. And those people need to be removed, regardless of who they are. We are no longer in a time where we can suffer with being weak because of the people living within our heads rent-free. I have evicted those people, and I encourage you to evict people. And if you're living in somebody else's head rent-free, I suggest you tell them you want some rent. Because at the end of the day, we have a very small responsibility to the world. For me, it is to take care of my children. It is to take care of my wife. And everything aside from that is really not my concern. If I can help outside of that, it is my responsibility and duty to do that. If I can't, or if I have to choose one or the other, I have to choose the one that was given to me by God, my vocation as a husband. And luckily, I get to be a daddy too. Until next time, work hard, be kind, and have fun.